Warren Moon gave some advice to Shedeur Sanders after he was drafted in the 5th round by the Browns and how he should respond to that. He was talking with Kay Adams. Take a listen here, Matt.
Talk about the past and what happened, but if you were to be able to talk to Shedeur, I don't know if you have, what would you tell him as he tries to win this job?
I think I would tell him you understand the things that you might have done wrong or did right throughout the process, the pre-draft process, but now you're drafted, you're in an organization, you've got a chance to go in there and make a name for yourself, and it's how you go about doing it, it's how you attack it. There's nobody there that's solidified in that job at quarterback right now. Joe Flacco's in his 40s. We don't know what he has. Dylan, the kid from Oregon, he's a rookie.
Gabriel, Dylan Gabriel.
Yeah, none of those guys have done anything in this league so far. So I think the job is wide open for Shedeur. All he has to do is go in there, put his head down to the grindstone, and go after it, and be the player that he's been the last few stops he's been at. So.
Definitely, man. I agree with that last part there, especially. But what are your thoughts on Warren Moon's advice for Shedeur? I think it's 100% true. I think Shedeur needs to buckle down, put his head down, go to work here. And that Browns job is wide open. They got Joe Flacco, small hands, Kenny Pickett, and Dylan Gabriel as well. But what are your thoughts on Warren Moon's advice for Shedeur?
I think he's right. I think Shedeur can win that job in Cleveland. Obviously, the fans have started gravitating towards him, and
definitely.
It doesn't even seem like Dylan Gabriel was drafted, so we'll see how that competition plays out.
Yeah.
I think Shedeur's a better player than everybody they have on the roster.
Mm-hmm.
He's tough as fuck. He's smart. He cares. He's resurrected a couple of, really bad college programs with his play and leadership. I think he needs to really learn how to study on his own. And instead of, leaning on everyone around him, that's something that you figure out how to do as a pro when you get there. Things just change from a schematic standpoint, from an expectation standpoint. He's got to learn how to play under center and, buy into the philosophies that they're trying to coach in the NFL, which I'm sure he will. I don't know why he'd have a problem with that. I think that there's the expectation for Shedeur to play like a first rounder, even though he's a 5th rounder, is a good thing because it's just he's overdoing it every week, right? Like we didn't expect to get this out of the 5th round pick, and bam, he shows up and he's your best player. So, again, everything I say is going to get misconstrued about this anyway, but I think he's a really good player, and I think he should listen to Warren, and I think he could do really good things in Cleveland.
Definitely. And I think there's a big opportunity for Shedeur, specifically for him to get mentored by Joe Flacco and Kevin Stefanski's system over there in Cleveland. I think if they end up keeping Flacco, which I think Flacco is probably the head man for that job, followed by Kenny Pickett, I think Shedeur has a great opportunity to learn from somebody who's been there and done that, won a Super Bowl, thrown for a ton of yards, been with several different teams and systems within the NFL. I think there's a great opportunity for Shedeur to definitely develop, learn, and be coached up, not only by Joe Flacco, but Kevin Stefanski in that system. Any thoughts there?
Look, Stefanski's a hell of a coach, and they're going to run the ball.
Definitely.
So Cleveland that's what they do. So if they can stay healthy and they can run the football, we've seen them make the playoffs with Joe Flacco. So why can't they make the playoffs with Shedeur? That quarterback division has the potential to be very interesting. Shedeur has the right to be really, really bitter towards Pittsburgh, which Cleveland and Pittsburgh is a massive rivalry that's been, it's a rivalry for the cities, but it used to be one of those like big time regional rivalries that the NFL would bank on. And it turned into Baltimore-Pittsburgh because remember, Baltimore is Cleveland. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of screwed up there a little bit, but Pittsburgh did tout him and he was slotted to go there, and they didn't pick him, and they picked Will Howard in the 6th, and that's what it is. So any more motivation he needs, there it is. But, you're telling me that you've got a quarterback division that's Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Shedeur Sanders, potentially, and Will Howard. And I'm sure he'll beat out Mason Rudolph at some point. I think that is pretty good for the AFC North. I think that there's going to be a lot of, good football games, and Shedeur's just got this quality about him where the game's really never over. I mean, yeah. There were some blowout losses his first year, and the BYU game was pretty ugly. But other than that, it seemed like they were in every game, or he was bringing them back from the brink of hell every game.
Yeah.
That is a quality that I don't know if you can coach, and he just possesses that where other guys don't. So I think that that's something they haven't had in Cleveland in a really, really long time, if ever. I mean, if they would have had a better quarterback play in Cleveland throughout the years, maybe they go to all those Super Bowls, because they were in countless AFC title games for years. So
definitely,
we'll see what happens. But I think Shedeur has a really unique opportunity here to make everybody look pretty stupid.
Oh, definitely. I think it's a great opportunity to respond to some of the heat, all the heat he's been getting from falling in the draft here. Let me make this clear. I don't think Shedeur is a day one starter at all. I think he's going to go in there and learn from Joe Flacco, definitely Kenny Pickett. People have been there and done that before, and learned from Kevin Stefanski and really developing that system. But one of my favorite characteristics about Shedeur is his toughness. We talk about it all the time, Matt. We talk about it in the live watch parties. And we talk about it all the time where, he gets punched in the mouth and he gets up and he responds, and he doesn't just, clam up, so to speak. So I think that's something that definitely fits into the Cleveland Browns culture. We know how much they like to run the ball. It's going to be interesting with their running back system now that Nick Chubb is out of there, but I think they have a great offensive line going into this season. And I think definitely Shedeur's toughness and that characteristic, it fits right into what Cleveland's trying to do over there. But Matt, we'll see. I think Joe Flacco's the guy in Cleveland right now. Kenny Pickett behind him, they'll battle it out. Whoever doesn't, work out is probably gone, because I don't foresee them keeping 4 quarterbacks on the roster. Do you?
No, I mean, I don't think that they'll keep. I think they'll keep 3, maybe.
Ooh,
maybe. I wouldn't be surprised.
Really,
well, it depends on if they're willing to let Gabriel or Shedeur get tampered with. Because if you put one of them on the practice squad, somebody's going to pluck them. You would assume somebody will when somebody gets hurt out there, which is going to start happening.
Yep.
I don't see Pickett really making the team. If you have 5 quarterbacks in there, I'd say the 2 men out are Watson and Pickett. And I'd say that after that, it would be Flacco, and then the 2 young guys will battle week in and week out for the backup job, which promotes a ton of competition within the ranks, but you still have your solidified starter. Because I'm sure that Cleveland thought they should have just stayed with Joe last year.
Right. Yeah, I'm sure they have that sentiment. For sure.
They were dog shit at quarterback last year again. So I know Jameis went in there and had a couple of good speeches and shit, but it's not like he helped them win any games.
Yeah.
I'd like to think that's the way it's going to go. I don't see a world where either of these guys could be on the practice squad and they stay in Cleveland. I mean,
especially
that would be
definitely
a steal. Well, even Gabriel.
Really?
So we'll see what happens.
Definitely, Matt. And we'll see what happens. But I think Shedeur has a lot to respond to. I really love Warren Moon's advice there for Shedeur.